Hello. Just gonna pull this up on my other computer. And hopefully I can watch the chat from there. But I don't want the volume on.
At Yield Street, investment opportunities that have traditionally been reserved for only the ultra-wealthy are now available to you. With a single investment, the Yield Street Prism Fund gives you access to a portfolio of alternative asset classes with expected.
Hi guys, just getting it set up. Gonna be making a doll pretty soon. Say hello in the chat if you want, or you're welcome to lurk. Either way's fine. Let me see if I can turn that off. Trying to figure out how to mute my computer that I'm watching from. And I always use the keyboard, so I don't know where the volume is. That's kind of ridiculous, but... There it is. All right, I think I got it. All right, I see Debbie in there and Fatima's in there. Hi guys, I see you. All right, trying to get everything set up. Had to kind of redo my camera setup and that took a while, so hopefully we're good to go. Let me make sure this is muted over here. All right, I'm trying to get my volume off on the other machine and it's not really working. So how's everybody doing? My name's Lucy. I'm with Ballyhoo Creations. I do machine embroidery. I make dolls on my embroidery machine. And what I'm doing tonight is ragdolls. I'll put it on the table and show you. I've got several here that I've already started making. These are tests that I've been doing. And let's see, this was the first one. Didn't even go very far. He's got all crooked legs. Second one here, getting better. And I'm going to make one similar to this. This one kind of has some clothes on. Just trying to fine-tune the details with the design that I'm making tonight. This is an older one here. And I will be releasing a face that's similar to this, but she'll have embroidered glasses instead of applique. So give me just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and start up the machine. And it's going to do the arms, and I'm going to have to turn off the speaker on the other side of the room. So I'll let you watch the machine run for a minute. I know it's kind of boring, but I got to get that thing quiet over there. Okay. Hey Google, turn off the speaker. Google, turn off the speaker. Alright, so the first step was to place an outline, and I'm just going to go ahead and place 2 pieces of fabric on top and make sure that I add my stabilizer, because if I don't do that, I'll have problems later. And I'll go ahead and put that back on the machine, and I always have to make sure that I'm putting it on the right way. Okay. I have a new view, and hopefully you'll be able to hear me. You can come in.
Eva says she doesn't think your chat is enabled.
It is. I got people in.
Okay. She wants to comment on how cute your sewing is.
Yeah, I see people in chat. So somebody's saying they can't get in chat, but it is on there, so maybe it's the way that she's viewing it. Yeah, I don't know why. Hey, Shayna. Got a few people in chat. So I got a new little setup on the screen. So I've got the table, and then I'm up here, and then the machine's back in the corner, and hopefully the volume's coming through. I'm a little worried about that. So back to... Gets a little flustered. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the legs. And I did those before I started. I still couldn't get that speaker turned off, and I don't know why. So I may have to fool with that some more, because I hear it on delay and it's really annoying back there. Hopefully you guys don't hear it. Got really close on that one. Woo! I cut that close. I love that little bing bong. It says I'm done, but with the In the Hoop project, you're not really done. You just got to go do something else. I would be curious to see in chat how many of you are into In the Hoop projects. And how many of you don't, like, you don't try them, you're afraid of them, you just haven't done it yet, or is, like, In the Hoop your favorite thing? I'm just really curious about that. Let's see. That's the arms. Oh, see, I messed up. I already messed up. Right, like we're what, like 9 minutes into the live stream, and I've already got like a, oh man. So this was supposed to be, I was just supposed to put one layer on, and then it will do a tack down and do this little hole for the arms. So luckily I have lots of fabric, and we'll just do it again. What's a live stream without a, like, oh, sorry about that, a big screw up, right? And I do have extra. Is it just me, or is live streaming like really, it makes me nervous. Like I get flustered, especially since I've spent the better part of the afternoon trying to get things ready and getting the setup and getting the doll. Like 5 minutes before the live stream, I realized that the file that I was digitizing had a mistake in it, and I had to go fix that 5 minutes before I started. That was not intentional. I think I'm going to, let's see. I'm going to cheat. Should have ironed my fabric, but I'm real lazy like that. Thanks about the haircut. Yeah, I got my haircut today. I don't know if you can see me while I'm over here on the machine. Let's see, let's do, see if that works. Meanwhile, I'm going to need more for the head. So I'll save that. Debbie loves In the Who projects. Vilma too. I'm sorry, it's hard to see the names because it's kind of far away, but I'm loving that people love In the Who projects because that's my favorite thing. And it seems like a lot of people don't know what they are. I'm like, you're losing all the benefits of your embroidery machine if you don't make it sew for you, right? Okay, so we got the little, this is where there's a hole here. Yeah, there it is. For the joints, because the arms are jointed. So put my other piece on. And hopefully that's a big enough piece of stabilizer on the back. And then I'll run the seams. Have to check and make sure I'm putting it on right, because the disadvantage of a multi-needle is you can put it on backwards and then you're really messed up. Okay, and this was extra. So I went ahead and did the legs first before I started streaming so that I would have something to do at the table. Hopefully you can hear me with the machine in the background. It's really loud. If we could do hymns in the hoop. Yeah, Susan, I'm with you. You know, they actually have big, huge embroidery machines that they do clothing with and stuff, and I watch those industrial sized things and I'm like, oh, that'd be great if I could make it sew my clothes. Not embellish my clothes, but actually sew the seams of the clothes. I saw one recently, and this was on YouTube. There's one leg. They had a really huge frame or hoop on this industrial machine, and it was doing embroidery. And then it had a laser cutter, and it would cut out the applique, like cut around the edges of the applique with the laser cutter. And then it came back and it had a cording, so it would do like yarn cording design. And then it came back and did sequins. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me that it did all of that. I wonder how much those cost. I don't even know. But they were doing like a sort of like a two-dimensional doll on like maybe a bedspread or something, a pillow. I don't know. It was pretty big. Maybe it was going to be a backpack. I really don't know what it was, but it was a cute little girl design that appliqued with all that stuff. If I find that video, I'll link to it like down in the description or something if I can find it. I am really wrinkling the crud out of those. So my project is actually stitching faster than I'm ready. Something Susan's like, we would buy that and never use it. I think I would use it but it was huge. It was an industrial sized machine. I was impressed. Sorry, I gotta cut one more piece. Oh, I should point out, I can't see what I'm doing here. But I updated my studio. Things are different. I changed the backdrop here, so I got a thread valet in the back. It's 2 racks here, and so I've got my colorful threads here, and then I think I hung that drawer. That wasn't there before, but then I put paper in the back, so it's much more colorful back behind me now. I like it. It was very dull before because my walls are gray. Now it's pretty. So go back to this. And I'm going to do the head. I actually tested these doll faces. Like this little guy. My sister came over with her 2-year-old granddaughter, and I gave her a test. I tested her. I handed her both these dolls and was like, which one's cuter? And her face lit up, and she like grabbed both of them and hugged them and gave them kisses. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, the faces are working. Thanks, Katie Lee loves my sewing room. What do you do with all your scraps? Susan is asking. I have a void storage in the other room that goes into another dimension for all of my scraps. No, actually, I have a full trash can like right here. Mostly, I usually throw them away. If they're big enough, I'll save them. But I learned a long time ago, I had piles of scraps and I stopped saving the scraps unless they're big. And then I have, like, I'll save little bits like this. Because ears, I could make ears and stuff with the little pieces like this. You can't see, I'm sorry. So I have little scraps like this that you can do the ears or something small. But usually I just have to throw them away unless they're big pieces. So this is going to be the head, and that stabilizer is hooped. And I'm going to go over to the machine, so I'll give you the view over there. Okay. There's his head. And he should be ready to sew. Alright, sorry, I have to walk in front of the camera there. It feels so rude to walk in front of the camera. Can everyone hear me all right? Let me know in chat if you're having problems hearing over the machine. I can adjust the microphone. It won't be that great, but I can try. Okay, got the live chat. Good, good. Katie Lee, I will warn you all. Katie Lee is my daughter from California. I live in Oklahoma. She's in California. She is also a sewist, but her style is very different than mine. She's into the very meticulous kinds of things, and I'm like, oh, hurry up and get it done. But she also makes dolls and stuffed animals, and stuffed animals, little tiny ones, meticulously hand-sewn ones. And I wouldn't have the patience, but she likes that stuff. So, welcome, Katie. Don't harass your mother while she's streaming. I don't know how you guys with kids do live streams when you have children in the house. I don't know how you do. Well, I guess I do know because I watched you do it. And the kids just come in the room and you talk to them. And, you know, I'd be distracted to be like, I forgot what I was doing. Take me 5 minutes to remember. But I'm old. Okay, and I make sure every time I have a little tab here, I try to get as close to that seam without cutting it. See, I'm already distracted because the machine stopped, and I'm like, blah, blah, blah. There we go. Am I making funny faces while I'm cutting? I probably am. Let me come back here. Let's see. He's ready for a piece of fabric. And I'm going to cheat because it's got a fold in it, so I'm just going to let the fold hang down. it should be okay. It's got a tack down stitch first, so I think it's going to be okay to do the dent stitching on the eyes, but we'll see. The tack down should be enough. There's scraps there. Oh, thank you, Shayna. And Debbie and people who are saying you could hear me. Great, that's excellent. Because that machine is loud. It's so loud. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera. The camera's kind of zoomed in, but like the stuff on the other side of the room is shaking. And I've done everything to fix that, and it's still. Right, there's 2 arms. Let's see, what else do we got? I probably should have tightened my fabric up, and I didn't. But I think it's going to be okay, because one of the advantages, because I'm lazy, the design has a little nose in the middle, and when you put stuffing in the nose, then it doesn't matter if you've got some puckering on the fabric. So it's the perfect cheater design, I think. Because that's happened to me. And I did not get that thumb. Gotta cut that out, or it won't turn. I wish the machine had a volume. I gotta remember to stand in my spot so you can see me in a little circle. I keep forgetting, and I put some tape, like painter's tape. I put blue painter's tape on the floor, which means by the end of the night it's going to be stuck to my shoes and trip me, and then I'll fall on the live stream, and that'll be an exciting thing too. We aim to please. Okay. I'm going to get out the small hemostats for this little thumb just because I don't want to have to mess with it. And this is a project that I really do think both the small and large hemostats are probably going to be needed, unless you're more skilled with chopsticks or something. I'm really not. I need the hemostats. There is a volume. Shayna, you're funny. Shayna says there is a volume. The speed is 500. You're right. It does get a lot quieter, and I can do that. I usually do. It vibrates less, but it's still loud. I'm gonna struggle with this thumb because I'm doing it on video, and all the other ones turn so easy. There we go. There it is. Okay. And then that little thing there. So one of the things I'm curious about and would like some feedback, because one of the reasons I'm doing this live stream and this project is not really, it's not ready for my shop yet. So I've made these dolls in the past, and this is not my own pattern, and this is not in the hoop. This is actually, these pieces are cut out using a Sizzix die, and I can show you, maybe. No, it's like put away. No, it's right here. Sorry, I just like disappeared. So most people probably don't know about this. This is a die that goes in a Sizzix machine, and it's the 6-inch wide for the regular Sizzix machine, but it cuts out all the pieces for the arms and legs and the body and head of this doll right here. And so a few years ago I was doing craft shows, and I did that because I thought, you know, cutting out is one of the most tedious things. And so I did the machine and cranked it through and cut out all the pieces for these. And I love that, but the pattern is not my favorite. The neck is, it's wide enough to stuff, But in order to get the head to not be floppy, you have to stuff it really firmly, and then it gives that really fat neck look. And so I was trying to go with something a little different in my design. So I'm using the detached head. And that also means that if you have a 5x7 hoop, which is what these are using, you can still get a good sized doll. And then I'm doing the jointed arms because the floppy arms, I don't know, the arms out to the side, I wasn't a fan of as much. I like them when they are down straight. So give me your opinion on that. If you like which one with the arms out to the side, and you can kind of angle them a little bit, like up or down, or the jointed arms that hang down. And you don't have to use the plastic joints. You could use needle and thread for these joints. I think one of them, this one is done with needle and thread, so maybe you can see in there. So I'm curious to see what you guys think, which kind of method you would prefer if you were making them. All right, one more arm. And the face is still stitching. Can you see it? Can you see the machine and what it's stitching, or should I angle that camera a little different? Lies. I don't know what lies are. Thread treasures. I'm in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City. Hi. Anybody else from Oklahoma? Okay. There's his face. And he stitched out really good, except I got a little white in there, and I think, so I'm going to have to go and fix the registration. There's an outline, and that's why I'm getting that little white from the white of the eye is showing through. So I'm going to have to go and adjust that. So that's that. Oh, now I remember I want to stuff his nose a little bit before I stitch him. If you see me disappear from the camera, I'm probably like bending over to get something under my workstation. And there's a little hole, so there is a tack down around, and there's a little opening at the top right there so that you can get tweezers or little hemostats and stuff something in the nose. And hopefully get it down in there, and then that should get him. Yeah, there was some puckering with that, because with this stretch fabric being floated like that, you're going to get that puckering. But once you stuff his nose, most of it goes away. And then once you stuff the doll, you don't really see that anymore. And cover him up. And don't forget stabilizer on the back, because I have before, and it really does not work well. If you don't stabilize, you can't get a firm stuffing, because the stretch fabric just stretches. This is that cotton jersey doll fabric. I have to make sure I put it on the right way. Go back here. And yeah. I'm going to leave you watching the machine for a second while I check comments. Yeah, Katie Lee's asking about small joints. I just got these small ones, not that one. I got these off of Amazon, and these are 20 millimeter joints. These are the 20 millimeter that I'm planning on using with this doll, and that's kind of, I think they might go down to 15, but yeah, these are 20s from Amazon. Another thing you can do if you need a really tiny joint is, instead of buying the doll joint, buy the eyes, because I mean it works the same way. There's nothing that actually turns in the joint, and same thing with the eyes. So once you get the back on, but I think if you were doing something really tiny, you might want to use a button joint instead, where you sew a button inside where the joint would go, and then you use your needle and thread to loop it. Okay, the head is done. Okay, so we're almost ready to do the body, and I'm kind of dreading it because the body has a lot of steps, And the body is really what I'm still trying to work out all the kinks for. So I'm a little afraid to do it. But it has to be done. Here's my stabilizer. So this is 4 hoopings, and that seems excessive to me. I'd be curious about your thoughts on that too, because I mean, it's good because with 4 hoopings, that means that the 5x7 can do the full-size doll, and I probably won't even release bigger sizes because I keep grabbing these babies to show you. This is a good size for a small child, and these were actually intended for small children. And if I make it much bigger, it kind of gets too big for a small child, and once little girls and boys are like 5, 6, 7, they're not playing with baby dolls anymore. They're up to the Barbie dolls and stuff like that. So I think that I'm just going to do one size. So I'd be curious to hear from you guys in chat. Is that okay that there's just one size? Because I know usually we do multiple sizes of dolls, but in this case I'm not sure that that actually makes sense. I think most people would like this. This is all done in 5x7 hoop with 4 hoopings. And is 4 hoopings too many too? And I've also done it where 8x12 hoop just means there's 2 hoopings instead. So I might do something like that. Curious to hear your thoughts on that. Okay, the body's getting started. I'm gonna have to sneak over there. There we go. I forgot what I was doing already. There's the body. Set and good to go. Uh-oh. I think I did not change all the colors. Yeah, I did. Don't know why it wanted me to change colors, but all the colors were right. Carol likes the idea of 2 hoopings better. With the 8x12 hoop, or would you rather have like a... Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to do it. The arms and legs might fit in a bigger hoop, like a 6x10 or something, but... And I wouldn't make these too small because this would be a difficult project with a really small hoop, like a 4x4. It's just, it wouldn't work. Especially with this thumb. 5x7 is doable, but not a 4x4. Hope I'm not confusing you working all these pieces at once, but it sounds like most of you have done in the hoop projects, so you know, you're always going back and forth. 8x12, yeah, Carol says 8x12. Eyes for doll joints, yes, Katie, try it. I haven't done it yet, but I know it would work because they're built exactly the same way, and eyes are tiny. But then you have to worry about, the eyes are usually black, and they might show through your fabric or something, so I'd be wary of that. Or buttons, small buttons. Okay. The other hand is done. Alright, so we've got all the arms and legs are done, but I didn't stuff the legs, and I think the machine is at the point where I need to tack down the legs, so I'm going to have to stuff the legs first. And I'm going to look at my cheat sheet and make sure. So what I had to do, this all stitched as one, and I had to fix the design 5 minutes before the stream was starting because it needs to be in pieces. And my plan is to move the legs to one side and stitch one side, and then move the legs to the other side, and I'll show you how there's a little flap at the back where the legs can hang out. It worked well on one of them, and then I changed it and I made the legs shorter to fit inside the body here, and I didn't like that as much because the fabric was way too bulky over the edge. So Yeah, I think that's where he's at. Yep. No, he's not. Okay, this is my placement. Telling me lay some fabric. Right side up. And then this will do the tack down. And what else? Yeah, it's just going to do the tack down. Oh. No, I forgot. See, I don't even know my own design. This... Okay, this line here is where the fabric needs to come to, and these little wings right here on top are where there's going to be a seam, and that will make the panties for the doll. So I'm going to put one there. And that's what I had the white fabric out for and haven't cut it yet. And this is stretch fabric as well. Yeah, that should be, you want the stretch to go the width. And so just line those up. I'm going to do it this way. It's really stretchy fabric though. Okay. Then it's going to stitch a little seam right there, and I'll fold that over next. And I float everything. Everything gets floated. There's a lot of tack down stitches, but otherwise everything's floated. Let's get his head cut out, and I'm going to need another piece of this for the back too. I want it to be bigger though. And then we tack down. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just gonna hold this, fold it down, and I can kind of see a little line there, so I'm gonna trim this back a little bit. I'm gonna need fancy applique scissors for this. And I'll probably maybe even do a little grading here, but I don't know if that's necessary. But I'm going to make this flesh colored a little shorter so that it won't show. That's the problem with white fabric, and you can see through it. I'm making a mess. Okay, and then fold that down. I don't think I'm going to need to tape it because this particular fabric, this is a stretch, this is like a nice t-shirt fabric. It's going to lay down nice and flat. If it were more like a quilting cotton, I probably would tape it. And put that on. And should tack everything down. Yeah, so it's designed so that the tack stitch actually pushes that fabric down. Yeah, it's doing fine. Yeah, Carol's a fan of floating too. Me too. I like floating, except I find that I get a lot of puckering if I'm doing a really dense embroidery design. I get a lot of puckering with floating, so even with the basting stitch. And then I started using sticky stabilizer, or the Terriel Magic is really great for that too. But you have to pre-treat for that. Okay, I don't really know what I'm doing. I need to do this top tab first. So I need to put a tab on this head in the design. That would be much better. Just haven't done it yet. Usually I'll have a little stitch that comes out like that, like the arms have. Don't want to lose my stuffing. And let's see, are we ready? Yeah, so it's waiting on legs, and I don't have legs yet, so it's going to have to wait. checking chat. I hope it doesn't like look really goofy when I'm like, what is going on over there? What fabric am I using, Carol? I'm using, let me think what it's called. I get mine from achildsdream.com, and it's a cotton jersey, so it has stretch to it. It's super, super soft, and it comes in 5 skin tones. And they're here. So here's the skin tones here. There's a really pale pink, kind of a peachy, and then the one that I'm using, yeah, because this is the same as that. Nope, they're different. They're different. So there's the 5 skin tones right there. Let me get it in the frame. 5 different skin tones. And I love this fabric. It's really nice. It's a thick knit, so it doesn't bunch up too much with the stitches. And it's, like I said, it's super soft. I think it's the best doll fabric I've ever used. I really love it. So check it out if you can. This is the brand from Weir Crafts, which is made in America. There's another one called, I think, DeWitty Ingle, which is made over in the UK. And I think there's a third brand, and I'm not remembering. But they're all cotton jersey. They have a little bit of stretch to them. And they're made for dolls. Really easy to work with. Easy to stitch on. It's beautiful. Another thing that I used, because I just pulled out my fabric drawer, I'll do it again. If you don't have these cotton jersey doll fabrics, but you want to use a stretch fabric because you want to do some soft sculpting, here we go. Tank top from Walmart, still has the tag on it. Couple of dollars. I buy the largest size. This is extra large. And you can use that too. It's much thinner though, but it works great for dolls. Every time I see skin tone tank top, I snag them. Okay, so I'm almost done with the head, and then I'll go ahead and get the legs stuffed. And I've been talking so much, just running my mouth, that I need to make sure I'm getting all of these tabs and little places in there so that they'll turn good. It's meticulous work there, making sure I'm going to trim these corners too. I've also, before I found that fabric, I was using, let's see what happened here. For some reason my camera decided to like back way up. And I don't know why. So now you've got like a weird view. Let me see if I can fix that. And Alt. I heard it beep, and then there it is. Let's just show the pretty stuff, not the messy stuff. It's a little better. It's got that weird fisheye view now, so I'll try to fix that in a little bit. Let me go ahead and get the legs stuffed so that we can tack those onto the body. I'm almost out of stuffing. Scuba. I have some scuba for the doll skin, Carol. I see you're saying that. I've used it, but it has a little shine to it. Let's see. Here's some nude colored scuba. And it's really nice because it's so thick that you don't have to line it or anything. So it's good for that. But it's not as soft. And I worry about it can pill up too. But scuba's also really good for making dolls. Apparently you've made dolls before, Carol, because you know about the scuba for the doll skin. It's good stuff. If you can find it, it's kind of hard to find. I'm going to stuff that foot first. And I don't know, I mean, these legs, I haven't had a problem stuffing them, but they're only an inch wide, so that might be difficult for people. I was going to call this an intermediate project. It might even be more advanced. I don't know. Okay, get the stuffing all the way down there. And I don't want to stuff the legs too much because then it's going to be harder to stitch up the body with the legs on there. There. Okay, I want it to be up to about a 1/2 inch, so I've got a little bit more. It might be just right. And I also want to make sure that I'm stuffing in between the 2 layers of stabilizer. That'll keep it from being lumpy. I know a lot of people line their fabric with t-shirt fabric or sometimes even fleece. Now, I don't do that because my doll designs don't have enough room in them. They weren't designed for that. I know Planet Applique does, their dolls are bigger, their pieces are bigger, like the arms are bigger than this, and there's room for the lining. But I tend to make much smaller pieces, skinnier dolls, and there's not enough room. But as long as you have the stabilizer, and I use that no-show mesh, because it's very thin stabilizer, so it's easy to turn the pieces inside out. You got a scuba site in California? I'm wondering if it's the same place. In Oklahoma City, we have a fashion fabric place here. But the guy who runs it, his family runs a big fabric store in California, and that's where he gets his stuff from. So I'm wondering if we have the same source, because that's where I got mine from, is that shop. And scuba's kind of expensive too, but then so is this cotton jersey. It's not the cheapest. You could even do muslin for a doll like this, though. There's no reason you couldn't. The only thing you couldn't do is, you know, where I stuff the nose. That really wouldn't work if you didn't have a stretch fabric. But that's optional. Okay, I think this leg is good. I just want to make sure that I don't have stuffing in that like top 1/2 inch or so. And the legs are reversible, so it doesn't really matter. There's not like a left and a right, so that makes it easier. And the machine right now, the needle is positioned right here. And this is, let me see if I can kind of tilt it so you can see where that stitch is. There's a little tab where you put the legs. So I'm going to put right there in that box. And it's going to tack this down. And in order for the machine to not move the leg around the hoop, it's going to start right here in the middle. So you'll know which leg to do because it's where the needle's positioned. It'll go towards one side, back to middle, and the other side and back to middle. So it should not move unless your presser foot's really low, and then you might have a problem. Most machines have a way to raise that presser foot up and give you a little bit more room. And I'm going to go over to the machine for this part because this is like several steps all together. So it's in the box, and I think I might even try to, get a little bit closer in there. Okay, I'm going to duck under. Then it sews over to the other side for the other leg, and it stops. Stops right in the middle where that next leg goes. So I'm going to position that one, and same thing. So you don't have to tape the legs down. It should not need it. Hi, Stampin' Sue. Just saw you came in. Hey Sue, you missed half the doll already, but that's okay, because now we're getting to the good part. Okay, so the legs have been tacked down, and my next step, it's going to do this bottom part, and I lost my white fabric. Here we go. So I may change this, but this is the way it's working right now. I want to make sure the bottom part of this is going to be the back. And I need to have, for the underwear, it needs to go past that seam. And then it's going to overlap here. And what this design will do, if I didn't mess it up at my last minute changes tonight, it's going to stitch up here to the side and stop, or sorry, it's not going to stop. It'll stitch up to here and it'll come around and stitch up to here, and then that will give us a place to fold down, and then it will do the rest of the outline. Go see if it works though. I've been having problems with it. That's why I'm still working on this. There we go. And see, I'm having a problem too. There needs to be stabilizer on the back, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to get that done. I think I'm going to have to run this stitch again. Hopefully I don't forget. And also it breaks that up so that we can get the legs out of the way later. I'm watching intently because hopefully it does what I think it's going to do. This one. So if anybody's just joined, I'm Lucy with Ballyhoo Creations. I make dolls and stuffed animals and other embroidery designs, and I do it all on the embroidery machine, which is called in the hoop style, because the machine actually stitches not just the design, like on this face that I'm turning, but the seams. It stitches all the seams. And right now I'm working on a ragdoll design that I'm creating, and it's not available for sale yet because I'm still working on prototypes and getting people's feedback tonight on what your preferences are. If you were to make a doll, what would you rather have? Like right now it's 4 hoopings with a 5x7 hoop, or I could also combine that into an 8x12 hoop for 2 hoopings, so you do like the arms and legs in 1 hooping and the head and the body in another hooping. Okay, there's his face. And then I also have to make a moon doll, which one of the wonderful ladies who tests for me was asking about that, and I'd never heard of a moon doll before, but it's basically a doll that has the moon phases on her, and I thought that was adorable. So I'm gonna, once I get the ragdoll pattern figured out, I'll also have a moon doll face. So there's this little guy's face. All right, and so this part I'm going to have to tape that. So the intent here is to have a flap in the back, and this will be open because this is where we will be doing the turning and stuffing right here. But the reason I did that, stopping here and there, is so you can just pull that down and it should line up with the front. It looks like this one, yeah, see, now I see what happened. So I had a problem when I did it before. One side was higher than the other, and I just realized why. The machine is pushing that fabric up, and it's not lined up. So I gotta go figure that part out. Isn't digitizing in the hoop super fun? But I'm gonna go ahead and continue with them. So I've got this here, and my back piece is here. I want right side down. I've got a lot of fabric here, so I'm just trying to think it through and see the best way. The machine should stitch. It's going to do this part first, and then it's going to do this part. So I'm going to move the legs and just get those out of the way while it does the right side first. And this is one of my concerns. I think this might be too confusing, or maybe not, because a lot of in the hoop projects have a lot of steps, so I don't want to confuse people. And for this piece, I don't want it to go all the way down to the bottom seam, otherwise you won't be able to cut it open later, but just overlap that back. And make sure that it's smooth. Yeah, you want to make sure that it's smooth on the right side here. And I'm going to give it a little bit less. Okay, so it should have plenty of nice space for there. Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe I should just do a stitch at the end that puts the stabilizer along the back, but then it's, again, the legs are going to be in the way, so that won't work either. But now I lost my piece of stabilizer. If you don't stabilize the back, then with this stretch fabric, then it won't hold the stuffing in. It'll stretch out as you stuff it, which causes problems in the neck. The little neck will get all, the head won't fit together on the neck. So I do have to stabilize the back for sure. And yeah, I've forgotten that so many times. I had a piece of stabilizer. I think the dolls ate it. Okay. Wish me luck. And it stitches that fold down too. So get back to, let's see. And go ahead and stuff the arms. Nope. Normally I would do this on the machine, but I want to make sure that I'm doing this the right way. So it's come up to the neck. Oh, okay. I didn't need to stop there. Sorry. Okay. With that last minute programming the colors that I did, I forgot I put a stop where there doesn't need to be one. All right, now it's good. I think this is the version, he may not even have holes for the arms yet. Okay, so it's stitched, probably can't really see it, but it's stitched this fold down and then it's come up and all the way to the middle. And this is the tricky part. I'm going to get the legs to be on top and make sure that this side here is still over. And that way the legs can be out of the way. I can get this nice and flat. The stabilizer is going to be kind of bulky. Actually, I'm not even going to be able to get that through, am I? Maybe I can fold the legs down. This is where, like, whatever suggestions you have. Yeah, maybe I could fold them out of the way. Because it needs to come all the way down here. And this needs to overlap. The stabilizer is really what's given me the issue. And I need to have stabilizer on the back. So, I'm going to do them that way. Obviously, there's still more engineering to be done with this little guy. Seems like too much work. Okay, and that should do the other side of him. I'm going to get back to my computer over here. Yeah, Katie's asking about my computer being muted. No, it's not being muted. I'm sorry if you hear that little echo. I was having a hard time. Like, it is muted on the computer, but it's not turning off because it's Bluetoothed over to a Google device. Okay. That worked, but I don't like it. I don't like that at all. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back to the one with the shorter legs. I was trying to do the longer legs, but it's just not working. Let me see if anybody has ideas. Okay, I think I'm caught up on the chat. Let's see. I mean, it is sewn together, but I need to have stabilizer down here. So what I was thinking I would do is put another piece down and re-stitch that area. So I'm just going to use this scrap up here. Yeah, and it needs to be up in there. So I've really messed this guy up, I think, but I will put it on. I need a straight edge this way. And just at least get some of that in there. And hopefully the machine doesn't push everything out of the way when it moves, because I think it will. That's the one I want right there. Okay. That's a lot of layers on there. Makes that funny noise when it goes over all those layers. It scares me. Let's save that. Ooh, that was a lot of fluff all up in the air. I'm breathing all of that. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to have time to finish the whole doll. But I will go ahead and at least get this guy turned right side out. Cut out and turned. So that was 4 hoopings. Get those out of the way. I don't want to cut them. And I also want to make sure that I don't cut into the legs while I'm cutting this. So I'm going to hold his legs out of the way. This was kind of a last minute, like I've had 3 different, this is the 4th version of this. And the other 3 each had good and bad things about them. And I'm trying to get all of the good things into one design and all of the bad things out. And it hasn't come together yet. I've seen how other people do in the hoop ragdolls. Some of them do it where you stuff the legs later. And so you have to hand stitch the back of the legs. I'm trying to avoid that. Trying to think of other ways that I've seen that get around these issues. And I always thought ragdolls are kind of hard because there is so much bulk inside the body, because usually ragdolls have the arms and the legs are tucked inside the body while you're stitching the front and back together. And it's a lot, but on a sewing machine it's easier to do. In the hoop project you can't get away with it because there's too much bulk. And your presser foot is not high enough. Okay, this is just a whole bunch of excess stabilizer at the top. And the face was inspired by, I keep seeing it every time I look at this little face. If anybody remembers the Marlo Thomas special from the 1970s called Free to Be You and Me, there was a little scene that had two little baby puppets in a crib, and they had just been born, and they were having a conversation about boys and girls, and they have these really goofy faces with the big eyes and the big smile, and so that's what inspired their faces. I actually went and rewatched that video just to get a better look at them, because I love that. I grew up watching that, singing those songs, and then my daughter also grew up singing those songs and watched it because it was one of my favorites. Anybody remember that? Marlo Thomas, Free to Be You and Me? Start singing. The lopsided panties. You're excited about that. Wabi Sabi. Yeah. Beauty and Imperfection. Yeah, Katie's definitely my daughter, the Beauty and the Imperfection. It's okay if it's broken. It looks better that way. Nothing's perfect. I kind of worry about when everything's perfect and all the seams are perfectly lined up and everything. I worry. Like, what's going on there? But within the hoop projects, everything has to line up because people want precision with that. Okay, so there's the body. And you can see here's the flap, and it's not lined up right there. I had also considered doing like a flap so that you could fold it over and have a diaper, two flaps here, but then that would be even more fabric in these seams, and there's already a lot, so some machines can't handle that. The multi-needle can handle, it just plows through, but my older Viking would choke and break a needle, and a lot of people have machines that would happen to. So there's the flap that you can turn and stuff there, and it's very easy to close that up. And then this, it's confusing because this neck stem actually needs to go inside the head. I know that's confused people before. And make sure that's opened up good. And once it's stuffed, it should fit in there pretty easily, but he's not stuffed yet, so. And then I'll also have to make some clothes. Oh, I can't get it in, of course. Oh, my hemostats are stuck. My hemostats are getting really old and they're starting to snag my fabrics. Probably going to have to get me a new pair. Those have been with me for like 15 years. Okay. So that would go up in there once he's stuffed. And then the arms would be probably jointed. Let's get this in there. I try to keep my live streams to around an hour, not too long. We're already over an hour, but because a lot of people like to watch the replay, but when they see that it's 2 to 3 hours long, they're like, oh, that scares me away. So I try to keep mine shorter. But sometimes I just let them play in the background and hear like bits and pieces on the longer ones. So this is the little guy before he's stuffed. If there's anything else you got, like any advice or tips, or I wouldn't sew it if it had 4 hoopings, or whatever things that would bother you, let me know either in the comments with the chat here or on the Facebook group. There's a Facebook group called Ballyhoo Inspiration and Support where you can join in. We talk about not just Ballyhoo designs, but even because my YouTube channel is about beginner machine embroidery and stuff like that, so all those things are welcome in the Facebook group. Let me see. Katie Lee, Marlo Thomas. Yeah, that Marlo Thomas, I think every kid needs to watch that. And what's funny about it is it's so relevant today because it talks about gender and I think it talks about race too. And just how people are people, and love it. I just love it. And we still haven't learned. That was back in the 70s and we're still like kind of more backward than in the 70s. Is that possible? That can't be. It can't be. But yeah, that was a great show. Susan, if you ever ended up in Oklahoma City, you would call me. Yeah. Call, we'll have a drink. Where's the husband? Mr. Ballyhoo is just, he's doing stuff in the house. He's not doing anything special tonight. He got a tooth pulled yesterday, so he's like really taking it easy. I'm gonna do a little, I'll talk for a few minutes since I'm not gonna be able to finish this doll anytime soon. I don't think that the design is not good enough for me to go ahead and use more stuffing. And this, honestly, this is like all the stuffing I have left. And I ordered more, and I ordered a 3-pound box, and I've gotten this before. It's a big box, like this big. And it won't be here till July, like early July. I'm like, what am I going to do until July? And I think what I'm going to do is I have an old pillow. I'm just going to rip that up and start using that instead, because I don't like polyfill. I use it, and I have just a little bit of polyfill left, but polyfill is really like bouncy and springy. And for a lot of the dolls that I do, I need something that is more dense, and it holds its shape better. It's also very fluffy. I'm going to be like blowing my nose later. I don't know if that's showing on camera, but there's little white fuzz everywhere right now. So this is the Mountain Mist, and it's the stuffing that I prefer, but I won't have any until July. So I'm trying to conserve all of my stuffing because I just don't have much. I think some of these rag dolls behind me that I've been showing you as examples, I'm going to have to like rip them open and pull the stuffing out as I finalize this design. That's just the way it is. Ginger and crying. Yeah, Katie Lee's telling us the Marlo Thomas special, it was about gender and crying and boys loving dolls. There were boys playing with dolls. There was definitely a sketch about that. And so maybe that's why I love it. I don't know, because I definitely give dolls to little boys. I do. And they love them. I'm trying to see if I'm missing anything. Oh, she's okay. I think she's going to sing us out. Yeah, the It's All Right to Cry is a great song too. So that's the live stream for tonight. It's I got 8:12 on my clock. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It was great hanging out. I love reading comments. Carol forgot to get a pair. I missed that comment. Oh, hemostats. Yeah, I think you're talking about hemostats, and if you are, get a pair, because now Sue, Stampin' Sue did a video this past week, and she made the little monster stuffies that I streamed these 2 weeks ago, and she was kind enough, she came and got them, and she did a video of her making them, and hers are really cute. She's got some little Disney fabric in the tummy, and she said she's addicted to making them now. And it's funny that maybe that just goes with the name, because there's another Sue in the live stream who's also like addicted to making them. Maybe it's a name thing. I don't know. That would be weird. But Sue was saying how she's tried the hemostats and it was harder for her. And for me, I just like, they're my second hand, you know. I'm used to them. But other people are used to using chopsticks or things like that for turning and stuffing. So whatever works for you. But I started using the hemostats. I have the big pair and the little pair. This is a 10-inch and this is the 5-inch. And I use them pretty much for everything. And then I also have another 5-inch. These are both, well, maybe it's 6, I don't know. This is from Walmart and it costs $5. And this works for most things except when I'm turning the tiniest pieces like fingers. These are too big, but I love them. Like I said, they're like my second hand when I'm making dolls or anything that has to be turned right side out. I pull out hemostats. So that's my preference. You want to see the baby's birth? Yeah, I'm not going to go ahead and finish it because I need to conserve my stuffing. And he's got too many design flaws, so poor little guy. He got cute little, yeah, boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I'm not going to finish him. But I did, you can see what he's going to look like. He's just going to be fatter and fluffier, like this. And then I'm also going to have to design some clothes for him, too. So I am so glad everybody hung out with me tonight. This has been really fun, hearing feedback and hearing what people, like what you would prefer when you're doing a doll or an in the hoop project. Is more hoopings better or worse? Should I make different sizes? I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence on some of those things, but the one behind me on the right with the side part, Susan is saying, I'm not sure which doll behind me on the right, like my right, with the side part. I don't know which one that is. But yeah, Those are the cloth characters back there, and yeah, lots of dolls. They're building up, and I have more on, like, behind the camera you can't see, but there's a whole shelf at the top that has a whole bunch of dolls. It's kind of getting out of hand. I don't have enough children in my life to give them to, so I'm just gonna, I don't know, just let them build up until I can't breathe anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and end it because I'm not going to finish the doll. Like I said, I'm conserving my stuffing. But thank you for all of your input and your fun comments too. That was really cool. And I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight and see if I can figure out how to end this live stream, because last time, like, I got 2 minutes me trying to find the button. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I'll see y'all probably in another 2 weeks. I'll do another one. And here I am searching for the button. Yeah, see, I can't find it.